joining us. Eric Balnart joined by 6-time World Cup representative, 7-time national champion, Amy McCann. What's going on, Amy? Keeping warm?
We are keeping warm. I'm keeping warm with my 6 layers on, but I'm keeping warm with some exciting baseball action. The runs are aplenty. It's been some really good action today, and I'm excited about tonight's game.
It's about desperation time for the Adelaide Giants, who are the home team in this game versus the Victoria Aces. The Giants, lots of young talent on this team. They're trying to string it together for a full game. They're 0-2. They lost 4-1 to the Aces the first time around, and they just lost 11-5 to the Brisbane Bandits. It's kind of now or never for the Giants, and there's a lot of young talent on this, but they got 3 Japanese national team players from the #1 ranked country in the world on this squad. That's what the Giants are going to need to rely on a lot tonight for sure.
Exactly right, and it's exciting. You've got youth. You want to sometimes, if you're going to lose, you want to lose with youth as well. And I think that it's exciting to see Sato in the field. We saw on the mound in Game 1 and that amazing Game 1 yesterday. So having Sato in the field will add some stability out there. And I'm just really excited. You know, down the bottom of the lineup, we've got Angelique Idale, who just came off a under-16 nationals, won the best hitter of the tournament, and I'm really excited to see her play for the Giants.
It's the youth of the Adelaide Giants versus the savvy and experience of the Victoria Aces. We'll get you their lineup after the national anthem. Well, the rain has picked up considerably during that national anthem. It's going to make it an adventurous experience, I'm sure, for some of these players. And head coaches Samantha Hamilton for Victoria Aces and Risa Nakashima, I'm sure that's what will come up in discussion right now as they meet the umpires out there. But Amy, this Victoria Aces lineup, so talented, so experienced. I'm looking at the lineup right now. Every player except one, I think, has played for Australia during a World Cup, and correct me if I'm wrong, and that one player is playing college baseball right now in the United States.
Yeah, look, actually, just a couple. I will correct you, but that's
She's
okay.
played 2?
Yeah, no. Maddie Patrick as well. So a couple of players that haven't played, and that's obviously they're still amazing players. Just shows the strength of this Victorian team and the Australian team. But yeah, leading off, Louisa Gauchi. She's playing college in America, the only female Australian to be playing college baseball. She's setting records, breaking barriers down over there, and it's really great. We haven't seen her play in Australia for 4 years.
And also works for that famous baseball building program called Driveline. So she's working hard around the clock, whether it be at school or even at her job, at her craft. She's a full-time baseballer.
She is a full-time baseballer, and Driveline Baseball, basically, she was telling me yesterday, they pretty much kicked her out the door. They're like, go play baseball. Don't work. We don't want. And I know that the entire Victoria team was just like putting orders in for Driveline equipment, and she came over with a swag for the team.
Like you like to call her Sports Center, Bronwyn Gell, the highlight machine at second. She's hit some home runs already in this tournament. Abby Kelly, Morgan Doty, she hit a grand slam yesterday. Abby McClellan hit 2 home runs. Tawny Lovering, 7 World Cups. Chelsea Forkin, an Olympian. Anna Kimbrell, the catcher for the United States World Cup team. And then Maddie Patrick, one of the biggest emerging talents in the country. There is no rest in this Victorian lineup.
There is not. We see Maddie Patrick getting her first start for the Aces. Maddie Patrick, actually, she's playing right field. She's just off a season where she won the pitching award for the Victorian League, which is fantastic. But yeah, look, and she's no slouch with the bat. So it's a really, really tough lineup for the Adelaide Giants. Really no chance to breathe. And yeah, we're looking for people like Gell and McClellan to continue, and someone like Chelsea Forkin, who we know has a bat. Hasn't quite warmed up in the chilly winds of Geelong yet, but I'm sure that will happen sooner rather than later.
Well, the Victoria Aces have posed a very difficult question to the Adelaide Giants defense, and the leader of any defense is a pitcher, so why not throw a Japanese national team arm on the mound? Mizuki Bando hasn't been in a World Cup yet, but she was named to the national team in 2020. Risa Nakashima, also the head coach of that Japanese national team, must think pretty highly of her if she's given her to start at a showcase here and she's on the national team in general.
Exactly. I mean, with the entire of the world has been missing women's baseball. We had the 2020 World Cup cancelled, so we haven't had a World Cup for 4 years. So there are a number of new players in the Japanese team that we don't know. Even I don't know them, and it's like I think.
And you know a lot of them.
So it's really exciting. But as you said, if Risa Nakashima is selecting you in a Japanese national team, you have got the stuff.
Well, the battery combination shouldn't be too much of a worry for the Adelaide Giants because it's another Japanese national team catcher. Azumi is going to be behind the dish for the Adelaide Giants, and in the field, Ayami Sato, normally a pitcher. She's playing third base, but very reliable in the field. It's that little triangle of the Japanese three right now defensively for the Adelaide Giants.
It is. So I'm telling you now, if we saw some running bunts from Adelaide, if the Victorian Aces are looking to put some running bunts down, they're going to have to put some really good bunts down in that triangle in third base if they're going to want to score. But look, my Amy Sato, she actually likes to swing the bat. Doesn't get to swing it a lot, but she actually has an aggressive style. So she's in the lineup, so they won't be taking her for granted. But it'll be interesting to see. As you said, Adelaide has everything to gain tonight, and Victoria would just be interesting to see Adelaide go at them. They're the ones that need the win, and the Aces have the two on the board.
Adelaide desperately need a win. If they lose this game, they lose control of them getting into the finals. They'll need to beat Brisbane in their final game should they lose this game, and then hope they win a tiebreaker scenario. So a vitally important game in context of this tournament already for the Giants on game 2 of the doubleheader.
It is, and as you can see with that battery, they're definitely going hard at the Victorians, and there'll be some pride on the line here for all of them. And as we said, it's that blend of youth and experience, Australian and international flavour for the Adelaide Giants. We'll see if that can get them over the line against a tight-knit Victorian unit. They've got 13 Victorians, obviously been playing together a lot, so really hoping this rain holds off as well.
Well, it's coming down harder, but Louisa Gauci will step into the plate as Bando delivers the first pitch. It broke away. It caught the outside edge of the plate, so a good battle for the college baseball player in Louisa Gauci. And Bando already throwing 2 different pitches, and how's the break on that pitch?
Yeah, I think we'll see. We're going to see, just like the previous game with Lulu Needs up, I think we're going to see a lot of movement up and down and outside as well.
Wow, a swing and a miss. And it will be a nice play for Azumi down the line to make the play. So 1 down, and it's a 3-pitch strikeout, and all of those pitches showed a lot of break to it. Yukina Azumi just scooped that up on the drop third strike, but she looked calm and cool to retire the side, or retire the first batter.
Yeah, and obviously Gauci hustling up the line there, but the catcher was too good, and we'll see Bronwyn off a home run night last night, how she fares.
Well, off a home run night last night, off a couple really nice defensive plays last night, off of is that what people calling her around the traps here in Victoria? They just calling her MVP or what?
Well, she's the reigning MVP from the recent national championships, and she, look, as I said, she does it in the field with the bat on the base paths. She can also pitch. She can actually catch. Like, she does it all.
Bronwyn everything. That pitch just outside. Rest of the field defensively for the Adelaide Giants. In left field's Gemma Letton, in center field is Bianca Ramsey. They are roommates. They call them, you'll see a sign sometimes wandering around the field somewhere. It says Ramton. That's just their household name. They call themselves Ramsey and Letton. And that's kind of their nickname and moniker they get in local baseball too. Grace Spano in right field. She's an exciting player out of Western Australia. In the infield from left to right, Sato, Angie Idale getting a start at shortstop, and Bree Hosey at second, up the middle. That is some youth for the Adelaide Giants.
Yes, I think what are we looking at? Maybe 30 years of age.
Combined?
Up the middle is.
Oh, God.
Yes, my knees are hurting just watching.
This ball is going to be grounded right back to Bando. Bando gathers, fires, 2 down.
If we get a replay of the picture as she goes into her warm-up, you can see the pause. We see this a lot from Japanese players, the pause as she comes up and takes her left leg up to go to the plate. The timing for the batters, it does throw the batters off a little bit. You see here, she sort of holds it, and then comes down. So as a batter, you obviously get your cue off how the pitcher goes. So their cue is going to have to be maybe when she drops the leg, when she moves the arm, things like that. They're just going to have to work a little differently than they normally would, and that's where being in the on-deck circle or in the hole really becomes really important for the Aces tonight.
Abby Kelly up the middle, base hit. Abby Kelly, another player that can do a little bit of everything around the diamond, and she's aboard with a single.
Yeah, it's a great piece of hitting there from Abby Kelly. Sitting on that fastball, she's got the timing right. Really good. We saw Abby Kelly get the start last night in the night game, game 2 for the Aces, and we saw her when she came out of the pitching. She went into third base and was an absolute wall there at third base. So you always want her bat in the lineup.
Morgan Doty up to bat. Had a couple nice plays at center field, but also made the impact with the bat. A grand salami last night. It's a bit of a wild one last night for the Victoria Aces. They fell behind 7-0 quite early in that game, but played the game that was presented to them and ended up winning that one 14-11.
Yeah.
Swept their doubleheader.
As you said, yeah, look, obviously a few walks last night, but they sort of came on when they needed to in the second inning. They saw obviously a lot more strikes, and it was really impressive to see the veterans such as Shane Lillywhite and Morgan Doty jump on the fastballs when they got them. And we saw Morgan ducks on the pond, clears it, and yeah, 4 runs. That 7-run lead quickly evaporated.
Bando a bit up high. Rain coming down. It's not those thick drops, but there are a lot of them. But there's no pooling anywhere on the field, and obviously the umpires, like, there's no puddles. It doesn't look like the dirt's even getting that wet, and obviously the umpires saying, yeah, we're still okay here. .3-0 count, catches the outside edge. Goes with a bit of a fastball on the side. Mixing up pitches early, Bando.
She would definitely have the scouting report from her coach, Risa Nakashima. She knows the Victorian lineup very well. Risa
Nakashima played in Victoria for a number of seasons at Springvale. Was later the coach of the South Australian state team. Played in some open women's championships. Runner is going. It'll be a walk, so the runner can walk to first. So with 2 outs, Victoria get a base hit from Abby Kelly and Morgan Doty, a walk. And that can set the stage for a huge home run threat in the very experienced Abby McClellan.
Abby McClellan is very experienced, and with the bat, as I said last night after her 2 home runs, she's one of the biggest bats in all of world baseball. She can go deep on any size field, and it was fantastic to see her last night. One of the balls was a souvenir for a whole bunch of kids who are actually standing out in left field behind the scoreboard. I'm not sure if we got it back. Maybe they brought it in and traded it for a hot dog and a Coke. Who knows?
Yeah, that ball was crushed. Played at the top levels you can play for your country, McClellan. Versatile, moved around the diamond when required.
Yeah, she's an amazing story of just what perseverance and dedication and hard work and what having a goal is like. Having a knee reco right on the cusp of the 2016 World Squad selection, and she finally broke through. And that ball in the dirt there. Yeah, she was looking like she would make that Australian team in 2016 as a catcher, and then unfortunately did a knee in an exhibition game and missed that World Cup, and came back, and unfortunately she's had to hang up the leg guards, if that's the way you would say it, because she just can't catch anymore. And then we've moved her across to first base, and she just looks great. Absolutely looks great there. So it's been really respect for her.
Filling up the strike zone early. I know there was just a walk, but Bando looking all right. This is our first look at the Japanese player who will be, I'm sure, pitching at some point for Japan in a World Cup, if the current Japanese team list is anything to go by. 1-2 count, 2 outs, no score. 2-2. The rain has picked up significantly over the last 20 seconds. It does not look fun to stand out in that rain. The whole crowd is just gathered underneath whatever roof they can find. That slipped away. I was talking to a couple pitchers in between games, Amy McCann, and they were saying it's really, really hard to get a feel of the baseball, in particular on those seams. It's raining, it's cold, your hands have no feeling in them. And I take it when you're a pitcher or just a baseball player in general, having that feeling in your hands feels important.
It does, and look, you feel at the moment, you're saying the cold, it's hard to actually feel it in the tip of your fingers, but it's also with the wet now on the grass, as if you take a ball off the grass now in the infield or the outfield, you really have to find those seams and make sure you have a good grip on the baseball. And as a pitcher there, we see she's hit Abby McClellan. Not obviously nothing intended there. We saw her remove her cap and apologise to Abby as she took one between the shoulder blades there, but we'll see if a ball's does make it into the infield, how they make that play.
I think we retired this woman in the batter's box last broadcast, Amy. I think she might have something to say about that.
No, Tani and I have spoken a lot during Nationals. She obviously didn't play Nationals, and she's one of those players. There's a lot of people like Tani Lovering, Chelsea Falcon, Taylor Welch, all of the people that have played like the 2018 World Cup that might have been in the latter stages of their career. You missed that 2020 World Cup, and then the World Cups are now moved to every 4 years. She's now looking at a 6-year gap between World Cup appearances potentially.
Jammed a little bit, that goes foul, but just like you'd expect from a savvy veteran and a catcher who would know that strike zone better than anyone, just battling away.
Yeah, so it's a really great opportunity for some of those players that this showcase presents for them, because we haven't seen Tani and Chelsea and Taylor and a lot of the players internationally for 3 years. So we want to make sure that they're getting opportunities to keep playing, because if you have a look at someone like Tani, she's 7 World Cups and she's got to be one of the fittest players here, which is fantastic.
Rain streaming down now. This will be difficult in all that wet. Fielded by Hosey, and she makes the play. I'm sure that would have been a nerve-wracking moment. Well, it would have been for me at least, Amy McCann, making your debut at the showcase like this, and Hosey scoops it up, fires it across, and there you go.
Yeah, she no doubt would have been trying to find the extra seam, getting every single fingertip on every single seam she could to make sure she makes it. Sometimes when you're at second base, you're like, I've got the shortest throw, but sometimes you get in your own head. But that was a really good play from Brianna Hosey. Excited to see her, one of the youngsters in this Adelaide lineup as Victoria takes the field.
Well, Adelaide keeping that top 2 in their lineup the same. They were very productive in that last game we saw. That was the adjustment they made overnight. Gemma Letton leading things off. She can reach on an infield hit. Grace Spano, just a warrior and an athlete from Western Australia. Then Ayami Sato makes her batting debut at this showcase. She's known as the best female pitcher in the world, but we're going to get to see what she can do swinging the stick. Jess Maslin from South Australia moves in the middle of the lineup, and Yukina Azumi, the catcher, is batting 5th. Carly Moore 6th. Then one of those young kids, Bree Hosey, we just talked about, batting 7th, followed by Bianca Ramsey and Angelique Iredale rounding out the lineup. Jess Johnson on the mound, getting things rolling for Victoria.
Yes, I love this battery. We have Jess Johnson throwing to USA, Anna Kimbrell. We have someone who, they're such similar players. 2 of the strongest, hardest workers. Just go out there, will get out there until their knuckles are bleeding. Absolutely fantastic. Jess is an amazing player. So Jess has actually represented Australia in NFL, like AFL.
Gridiron, yeah.
Gridiron. And she's 30. She's an older player on, in the date of birth, when you sort it in the Excel spreadsheet, but as a baseballer, she's really young. So she came on about 10 years ago. She actually broke her foot overseas on one of those NFL trips, and she's really worked, one of the hardest workers, and she actually led the Doncaster Dragons Baseball Club, my club, to the first premiership in 10 years, just a month ago, and she carried, her shoulders would have been so sore. She carried the team the whole season on the mound, and really excited to see her right here and make her debut, pitching to 6-time World Cup veteran Anna Kimbrell.
Anna Kimbrell notoriously caught as Gemma Letton swings at the first pitch. Moving in to make the play, 1 down. But Kimbrell notoriously, I was about to say, caught the first no-hitter in international women's baseball hitter for the United States in a pretty big scenario. So Kimbrel, one of the best in the business at calling those balls or those pitches that are coming to her from the mound.
Yeah, and it's great for the Victorian pitchers and to work with someone like Anna, and Anna's obviously learning there. She got to catch Genevieve Beacom yesterday, and Ali Beberay, and now Jess Johnson today. So,
well, another first pitch swing. So Adelaide trying to attack batters earlier. It's 2 pitches, 2 outs.
So I'm just thinking right now we've got Ayema Sato coming up to bat, 2 outs, 2 pitches. I'm pretty sure we're not going to see Sato swing at this first pitch. That's probably one thing I'm guaranteed of right here, but absolutely fantastic here from Jess. She's just coming up here. She's just got one job tonight, and that's to pound the strike zone.
Adelaide, clearly the message early is attack anything close. Not that time. That was well over the plate, and as you said, I think she may as well put the bat on the floor.
Yep. Yeah, pretty much. In that situation there, you've got to try and now get something going, and certainly not have a 3-pitch inning.
So Sato, lethal on the mound. What can she do in the circle? That's good contact of it. Knocks it off to the left side. And that left side of the diamond might be important. It certainly was the first time these two teams met. But Abby Kelly at third, Bronwyn Gell at shortstop were crucial yesterday in the field for Victoria in their 2 wins.
Yeah, they certainly were. As we saw, Abby Kelly had the start last night. Wouldn't have had the start that she would be like. We know we've seen her pitched Australia to victories against the USA at a World Cup.
Oh, we know she's there, yeah.
We know she's there, but the great thing about Abby Kelly is she walked to third base and then took the next 3 outs and was really instrumental to Victoria's comeback.
That one fouled away, and if you want to get an idea of Bronwyn Gell's game that she had at shortstop, just jump on that Baseball Victoria social media accounts on Facebook, Instagram, and you will quickly find a few highlights from Bronwyn Gell.
I think if you could search a ringtone, if you could just search da-na-na, da-na-na, Bronwyn Gell comes up, pretty sure.
Maybe we should talk to whoever's running the PA here and make sure that's her walkout song when she comes up to bat.
No, it was pretty impressive. But yeah, look, Abby Kelly at third base, Bronwyn at shortstop. We've got Louisa Gauchi at second base and Abby McClellan over at first base.
Loaded. Tawny Lovering catching behind the plate, and then an Olympian and Chelsea Forkin in left field, Morgan Doty in center field, and Maddie Patrick in right. It's not a lot of gaps in the field, and they've been tested early. 2 flyouts already, and Maddie Patrick getting busy early.
Yeah, we see Chelsea Forkin switch over to left field after playing right field in yesterday's 2 games, and Maddie Patrick getting that start.
Jammed just a little bit, but the ball has a little bit of carry. Doty has to track it, bring it in, and for Jess Johnson and the Victoria Aces, it is a 1-2-3 inning, and this game already taking form, well, at least in similar shape to what we saw the first time these teams met in a very low-scoring 4-1 affair.
Exactly right, and that's, at this point in time, if we get a better game than that, which of course we hope and we will expect, that will be a pretty impressive game, because that was a great game to open this showcase. And with the rain, I think we're seeing it's actually easing off a little bit here. It's great to see 0-0 in the first inning in tough conditions.
And you know what, Amy? With the rain, you know what I want more than anything in the world right now?
A heater next to our table?
That, but I could also go across every corner of the city. It's crazy. You can literally smell coffee, it feels like, or at least people making coffee. People love to chat about it. Like, I've never been to a place where people know so much about coffee. They just love to chat beans and machines.
You do. And if you have a cafe, and if you serve bad coffee in Melbourne, you're not going to last, because we love it. And look, I have the privilege of working in the city, and I get to Graves Lane is my favourite. But every corner, it's like, where do you want to go? I don't know. Let's just walk and follow our nose.
Lots to do in Melbourne. Go to visitmelbourne.com. Start your journey today. I'm sure there's people watching all over the world, people from Japan. That's where some of these international players are from. Or if you're American, like Anna Kimbrel, or now Louisa Gauchi, where she plays her baseball, come down to Melbourne, try some coffee for yourself. Or how about the 3 Canadians that are playing for the Brisbane Bandits as well? Chelsea Forkin will lead things off for the Victoria Aces. There we are, Amy. Wave. We're just trying to stay bundled up. Let's go. How's it going? Eric Ballner, Amy McCann, calling the action for you. Edge of your seat stuff that we can't even sit down. Now, to be honest, I'm just trying to keep my toes warm.
Yeah, I'm doing a little bit, keeping my steps up. Just get a treadmill here, we'll be fine.
Bando deals. Yeah, I'm so glad that we can bring this showcase around the world. And Amy, I've loved hearing the stories from you about your experience and these players' stories. I'm so glad that you could bring them and our audience along for the ride. What I am happy for the audience as well is that they don't have to be outside right now. I think the TV is actually the best seat in the house tonight, to be 100% honest.
Yeah, I think I would agree with you there. And look, judging by my phone going off tap each game, there's so many people out there in the women's baseball community, and actually just people that sort of on the fringe that are just tuning in. There's an opportunity. They're watching what they. Yeah, it's great that we're able to put this on internationally as well.
Forkin's going to walk. And now, I'm not saying don't come out to the ballpark and see these amazing athletes firsthand. I'm just saying that on a 8-degree night where it's raining a little bit sideways, a little bit windy, and everyone's bundled up, I feel like having a Melbourne coffee sitting on the couch and watching this game is not a bad spot.
Or bring your Melbourne coffee down. Just make sure you have the 6 layers like me. Get your heated jacket, get your rug. You'll be fine.
Anna Kimbrell steps to plate. There's a runner on, and Chelsea Forkin an athlete, so watch her. She could steal, always a threat. You can see a bit of a lead she's getting over at first base.
Yeah, we see Donovan Hendricks down, putting on the signals at third base. Donovan Hendricks led the Upwey Ferntree Gully to their first premiership in the Premier Division in Melbourne. First premiership in 20 years, Donovan Hendricks. So
there goes Forkin. She's going to test the arm. It's going to be a good throw over to second. Forkin slides in safe. It was a close play. It was a good throw from Azumi, and Forkin just slid in under the tag.
Yeah, we've seen the replay here. I think it was a great jump in Forkin, and I think that Azumi got rid of it really quickly. I think it just stayed up in the air a little bit in the second half, and it allowed Chelsea Forkin that extra time to get in. Really great slide there into second base from Chelsea Forkin.
2 teenagers patrolling the middle of the infield for the Adelaide Giants today, getting thrown to them from a Japanese catcher on the national team. That would be a pretty cool experience.
Yes, it would be, and I'm really excited about this matchup now with Anna Kimbrell. I mean, 6-time World Cup veteran for the USA, the last team to beat Japan at a World Cup was the USA in 2012. So Anna's been really an absolute mainstay for that USA team, so she would have faced plenty of Japanese pitchers. So
she'd be familiar with the leg kick and the little pause in the pitching motion. You can see the pitcher, Bando, vary it up, right? Sometimes she has that long leg kick. Other times it's that quick release. Sometimes from the stretch. She's mixing it up a little bit.
And look, the Japanese are so crafty. They will have not just the situation of a runner on changing it. They will just do it just to change it up. And that's what makes them so great. Doesn't matter how many times you face them. They are always tough.
Kimbrell reaching down and having a range back is Gemma Letton. Letton says she's got it, and it lands in her glove. 1 down. Maddie Patrick, memorable showcase last year, Maddie Patrick.
Yeah, Maddie Patrick got a call up last year. I think she was last year. She was the only player not on the Australian squad, and she was like, did not look out of place at all. Played a lot of right field and just really took it by both hands, and it was just so great to see. And she's been rewarded, also off the back of a great season with the Springvale Baseball Club as well. She's a really exciting junior coming out of Victoria, so great to see her back here.
She's got a runner in scoring position, trying to bring in the first run of the game, but a good pitch up high. Called strike for Bando. Bando struck out the first batter. A couple walks so far, but she's not missing like crazy.
Just misses up high. This is a good test for Maddie Patrick. Runner in scoring position. She just has to put one out. I can see the outfielders playing closer to the fence. She just has to put one out, and I think...
Runner going to try to go at third. Is the tag made? She's safe. The throw was to Sato at third, and I think Chelsea Forkin must have just weaved her way around. We'll get a good look at it on the replay. You can walk us through this, Amy.
Yeah, well, interesting to see. I think it might have been unusual to do a delayed steal at second base. Not a great jump, but she did enough, and she's got the speed, and that's a fantastic slide around. As we see here, she gets a bit of a lead, and she takes off, and Going on the outside of the bag here, really great move from Chelsea. You can see she comes over and around, and Sato takes the ball inside the line, makes it a bit difficult having to come back and sweep the tag. So, yeah, we got 2 down. Back to the top of the lineup with Louisa Gauci.
Yeah, second strikeout for Bando. That one was looking. It was a nice pitch that was painted on the outside edge. Louisa Gauci steps in. Struck out her first at bat. Victoria played long ball versus the Giants the first time around. Now they're playing some small ball. Good block from Azumi.
Louisa Gauci's done a lot of work on having like a rating system for women's baseball. A lot of men's baseball, obviously, the stats and the numerical data for men's baseball is so, we get compared against that. She's done a mountain of work. Well, that's an inside pitch there for, takes the count to 2-1. But yeah, she's done a lot of work with Driveline to set up a system that we can really have accurate comparisons of comparing women to women, not comparing women to men. So interesting to see a lot of that.
So you could say that a player like a Madison Heath would compare in this way or in the rating system to a Tawny Lover, and you can get an idea of what you would be transitioning to.
That's exactly right, because we know what men can, obviously everyone watches the major leagues, we know what they run, they hit, and throw, but we need to really compare like for like.
Pitch on the outside edge, she's gone. So a runner gets on, gets into scoring position, but 2 straight strikeouts from the Japanese national player Bando, and that is big news for the Giants, who desperately need a win in this game.
Yeah, we'll have a look at the replay here. I'm not sure if it was I think the home plate umpire.
I said she went around?
Yeah, no, I think she's called it on the pitch, or called it on the catcher turning around to her. It's probably not so much on the breaking the wrist, as they, in the old saying, but it doesn't matter. Louisa Gauci is at second base now, and Victoria's outfielding. So I guess a missed opportunity there. Chelsea Falcon on second base, and then again on third base. But again, donuts for the first 3 frames here in this game. The rain has stopped, so it's really good to see a really tight game in these conditions. And now we're going to see how much of the water is going to sit on the field. Does that make a play? I know that the dugout would be running out of towel to Jess Johnson and to every pitcher, and making sure you find that seam. And definitely as a fielding team, you don't want to spend too much time out there.
So talk to me through it, Amy McCann. You've played center field for Team Australia in World Cups and massive games. A little bit of water on the field. If you get a little single or a double that's heading your way in center field, if you take it off the air, if it hits the ground, what are you being mindful now in center field or any of those outfield positions?
So right now, the first thing I'm thinking of is, has it slowed up out there? So on ground balls, we don't see much of an alley here, so you're not going to get hurt in the alleys. But down the line, will the ball slow up? And then, so I might have to adjust my route to the ball. Will the ball now be wetter? Will the seams sort of, it soaks into the seams? Is that ball going to be slightly heavier? Is it going to be soapy? Sometimes it gets heavier, sometimes it gets slippery. So it's working on that. Maybe as well, it could be, depending on how my feet feel, it may be slipperier, depending if I've got, my cleats are older and they may be worn down, who knows. Yeah, there's quite a few, but we've seen the rain's gone and the wind's gone, so those elements are out.
Jess Maslin's going to come to the plate. Yeah, with the wetness on the grass right now, does that affect how you charge towards a ball?
Not so much. It does affect, because you don't know particularly if the ball's going to skip a little bit more. You're going to probably take a little bit off your approach to make sure you really do glove it, to make sure you're in control as you're approaching the ball. But usually it's all around what's going to happen to the ball, not so much what's happening to your feet.
Maslin, right field. That drops in the outfield. They're thinking about testing her out. Maslin gets to first base, so the Giants with the leadoff hitter. Maslin had a couple hits in her last game. She's being moved to the middle of the lineup. I think that's her 4th hit of the tournament so far. 3rd or 4th hit, but Jess Maslin, someone that can just hit. She
can hit. She's obviously done that for a number of years in both Diamond Sports over in South Australia. So one of the 5 South Australians here. Really good to see her having a good start to the showcase with the bat. Yukina
Azumi comes to the plate. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, Amy. And Jess Maslin, she's won a best and fairest in softball in the local competition, won a best and fairest in baseball, won a championship on the same weekend on back-to-back days in softball and baseball this season. 3 softball championships for her in the 5 seasons of club baseball, that the new modern-day area of women's baseball in South Australia. 1 with Gawler, 2 with Glenelg.
Life is short.
Win a lot while you can.
You only have a short career, so just get it done quickly.
A couple MVPs in those grand finals. She's got a trophy cabinet and some bling to sport. Hard hit ball over towards third. Knocked down from Kelly. She's going to get the lead runner at 1. Can they get 2? Running through the bag is Azumi. It'll go down as a fielder's choice, but no runner advancing to scoring position.
We'll have a look at the replay there, see what happened if there was just a hard hit ball came out of Abby Kelly. Maybe it was a bit of moisture on the ball, we're not sure, but she would have known the speed of Jess at second base. She had time to go to second. You always, in that situation, you can't turn a double play without getting the first out. And at the end of the day, you just want 1 out. So that fumble probably cost us a double play, but we're getting 1 out. That's a good play.
Carly Moore, first pitch, driven to the outfield, but Morgan Doty, no doubt about that. She just guides that right into her glove, kind of on the backhand.
Yeah, that's off the bat. Morgan runs well. She's a 360 player, and look, right off the bat, I thought that was in, and then you forget if it's Morgan Doty out there, it's probably not, and that's unlucky for Carly Moore. We saw her get robbed on that Sports Centre play by Bronwyn last night, and now she's had another great piece robbed by a Victorian player. So Carly, she's going to be happy the way she's hitting.
Bree Hosey steps in for her first showcase at bat. And Amy, don't sleep on the ACT.
No, it's fantastic to see 2 ACT players here. Caitlin Einan, who started the earlier game today, and Bree Hosey, who's not even 17 yet. And it's just so exciting to see the talent coming out. Look, she's part of the Western Creek Indians, and yeah, her brother Nick actually plays Australian schoolboys, and she actually was the only girl at the, as Jess Johnson looks over at first base. Yeah, she was the only girl that played at the Australian under-16 Australian Youth Championships on the ACT team. So it's absolutely fantastic. She now gets to play amongst all women and all girls.
Hosey going to put the ball in play. Kelly reaches down across the diamond, whips it across. It's a nice play. Death, taxes, and good Victorian defense is what we've come to know in this showcase right now. And through 2, we've got ourselves a little bit of a pitcher's duel right now, a bit of a difference from the last 2 games that we've seen.
Yeah, it's obviously it's the Victorian-South Australian rivalry, and as we see Victoria-South Australian rivalry in tourism.
Rivalry, yeah, but Victoria has something going for it here. Have you been to the Highlands before?
I have done a lot of cycling and hiking. It's all about cycling and hiking in the Highlands. Well, it is for me.
Well, I've heard that you go cycle and then you can hike, you can get some great views out in the ranges, but there's all these little towns that have these little vineyards that you can go and enjoy a nice glass of red wine, those dark reds. What I'm told is that's what you want to go and enjoy after your long day of hiking in some beautiful scenery up in the Highlands.
It is. You don't ride and drink, just ride then drink.
Ride then drink, yeah. Hike then drink, yeah. Or maybe bring a little bottle for a celebration on the top of whatever peak you're climbing.
We can do that. We can do whatever we like. It's our hike. It's our cycle. No, there's some great places up there. Doesn't matter where you take your bike in Victoria. It's a great place to ride.
Visit melbourne.com. Big thanks to the Victorian government bringing superstars of the game like Bando on the mound. You got a nice shot of the base paths before. Now, they're kind of orange now. Look at all the dirt that's on there. That's just from aggressive base running from Chelsea Forkin, I think. That's Forkin making a mess of those orange base paths. Now, you're probably wondering why they're not white base paths. That's the traditional color of baseball bases, but No More has partnered with the Australian Women's Baseball Showcase, and it's a great organization that uses sport to change views on domestic violence. It's a cause very close and an organization very close to the Australian Emeralds. That's the national team here. A good look at the bases and kind of a sign of solidarity for a great organization. They lead a lot of workshops and programs with different clubs. You can get in touch at nomore.org, but Amy, really just a fantastic organization. I love seeing these quirky little activations like the base pass here.
Yeah, we need to get the umpires out there to clean up the bases. Maybe someone can help us out because the orange looks great, and it's a great No More campaign. It's just such a great campaign for everyone that's involved.
Bronwyn Gell watches a ball from Bando loop in there for a first pitch strike.
That's a fantastic pitch.
Second time through the order. Now, we've seen Victoria face some pitchers that they have seen before in this showcase. They've played versus other players in national championships, played with players on national teams. Bando is an unknown quantity for a very experienced Victorian side. So, Amy, if you're in this Victorian dugout, what kind of conversations are you having after your first at-bat? What kind of information are you sharing with your teammates in the dugout?
Yeah, well, I think the information sharing starts before your first at-bat. I think we would all pull our tongue twister, it's just so cold. We would pull our knowledge from particularly the World Cup players. We would talk about the Japanese players, the tendencies of the Japanese players, and then, as you said, we don't know Bando. So what we do is we just draw on what we know from that type of baseball. And after every at-bat, you're going in there, you're talking about timing, you're talking about pitch sequencing. And that is a 5-time World Cup veteran at-bat from Bronwyn Gell there. She gets 2 absolute loopy pitches. The first one goes for a strike, second one just misses. And she stays in there. She's looking to hit. You can see her checking her swing, and she takes that walk. That's sometimes like a walk's a walk, but sometimes you win that walk.
Well, it's called baseball for a reason. You just want to get on base.
Exactly right, on those shiny orange bases. So, yeah, you're just constantly talking about what you are seeing in an at-bat or talking about what you might be seeing changing. Because the Japanese, they've got talent, but it's the craftiness and it's the way that they change. And if they see that you might have picked up on something or you might be getting on top, they have the ability to change, whether it's a sequencing or timing. And it's all about timing. They want to put your timing off. You want to put their timing off. But equally here, I think we've got scouting reports on what we know about Japanese players. She would have a scouting report on Bronwyn Gell. Rissa would know Bronwyn Gell as good as anybody from the 15 years Bronwyn's been in international baseball.
Abby Kelly staying alive, chopping one back.
And it's tough now because obviously Abby Kelly got that great piece up the middle in the first at-bat, so Bando's remembering that, but while also trying to keep Bronwyn close at first base because we know the speed and the craftiness of Bronwyn on the base paths as well. She could quickly take 2 and 3 in a heartbeat.
So there's a bit of thinking involved.
It does hurt your brain a lot. That's why I stood in the outfield. You just stand out there and think about your hitting.
Gell was thinking about going. She'll retreat, trying to put some pressure on the base pass. It's going to be another strikeout, 4 on the day for Bando. She's been fun to watch so far.
As I said, coming into this tournament, I didn't know much about her. We haven't seen international play for 4 years. But if you are on that national squad in Japan, you have got some talent, and we're really seeing it here tonight.
This is a Japanese battery working together. Players from different states working together throughout this showcase on both the Bandits and the Giants, predominantly the Aces, with a couple interstate players, but mainly Victorian. But that's tricky for the pitcher and the catcher who might not normally work together, and we've seen some early, we'll call them growing pains in terms of getting that communication right. Now, these 2 players are friends. They play together. They've come over together, so I would be very surprised if Bando and Izumi are having some miscommunications out there.
Yes, I could imagine the dozens, if not hundreds of bullpens that they have thrown together. I've lived in Japan and I know how hard and how often they train.
Rooming together right now on this road trip experience, the 2 Japanese players. Ayami Sato said she had to room with the legendary Jess Maslin.
That's fantastic. I actually spoke to, coincidentally, I spoke to all 3 Maddies. There's 3 Madisons in the Adelaide team, and I spoke to them this morning before the game, and they were telling me about how they're learning Japanese off all the players. It's actually fantastic how they're all they're trying to teach them English and get them to speak Australian, and they're learning Japanese.
Ayumi Sato, you can see her encouraging her pitcher. She's very social. You can tell that around the group.
She's a rock star. If you don't follow Ayumi Sato on Instagram, do you even Instagram? It's...
Runner is going. Azumi with the throw. It's a little bit high, and all that the shortstop, Angelique Iredale, can do is just bring that in and stop further damage from that squirting out into the outfield. But a stolen base. So Samantha Hamilton's side is, oh, is a walk anyways.
Yes.
So it's not.
Doesn't get the reward for that that good jump, but that's okay. We'll take it. Runners on. Sorry, not we. I've got to sometimes remember. I've got to take my Victorian hat. I know I bleed Victorian blue, but I'm impartial here, and the rain starts to come down again.
Abby McClellan, runner in scoring position. Wastes no time going after a pitch. Puts one to the outfield. Runner is being sent around and being told to retreat.
Wow, I think that's Morgan Doty nearly ran up the back of Bronwyn Gell, who was held up at third base there by Donovan Hendricks. I'm not sure if Bronwyn, bit of a late jump there off second base, but Donovan held her up there. Really great piece of hitting. Line drive there through to left field, but a great job by Gemma Litton coming in, holding that runner. That's a great job with only one out. Bronwyn has to make sure she sees that ball go down, but even so, a hard ball line drive into the outfield to hold a runner. That's really great fielding from Gemma Litton.
Tawny Lovering, designated hitter in this game.
That was the Victorian team. The Samantha Hamilton has the interchangeable Anna Kimbrell, Tani Lovering behind the dish or DH. We saw yesterday Tani and Anna shared the duties, and today again Anna behind the dish and Tani DHing.
I mean, if you're a Victorian pitcher on this staff, how's the confidence you would have no matter who you're throwing to? Well,
it's interesting. One of the most exciting juniors coming in Victoria at the moment, Madison Weller, is actually the bullpen catcher for the Victorian team here. She's 18, and she's coming and being a bullpen catcher the whole week, sitting out there in the cold and the rain, just to learn off people like Tani and Anna. It's such an amazing opportunity.
Swing and a miss outside. Adelaide 0-2 in this showcase series. One of their early issues is limiting damage. They've allowed a few big innings. You saw that versus Brisbane, where they put 4, 4, and 3 up in 3 consecutive innings. Now, bases are loaded right now. If Victoria scores a run, that might just be okay for Adelaide. It's trying to stop it from being a big inning.
Yeah, and right now, the situation with donuts on the board, Tani Lovering's got to be thinking, okay, I just have to put one into the outfield here. I have Bronwyn Gell at second base. If I can try and put one out deep centre, deep right, Chelsea Four can take 3, but we're just looking for one run here. And that's what's going through Tani's head. We can see that as we see the catcher's now wiping the ball, she'll be considering she's a catcher. She's been behind the dish. She knows what it's like throwing the ball back when it gets wet in conditions like this. So she's going to be sitting on her pitch right now, knowing she wants that ball to drive to the outfield. She wants to stay away from the corners, avoid that double play. Tani is probably the most experienced, one of the best batters we could have in this situation in women's baseball.
Full count, bases loaded. Lovering to left field. Letton makes the play. Runner has to go back and tag. There's a relay coming in. They've tagged up the player on the double play. Gemma Letton, the Riverland Road runner, makes a nice play in left and catches a Victorian base runner napping to get the second out. And that will end the Victorian threat.
That is an amazing ball from Gemma Letton running into left field, because we saw both 2 runners from Victoria think that was a base hit and go off the bat. We can see Bronwyn leading off third, and we see Morgan going straight to third base. I don't think they thought...
I think Morgan Doty thought that was going in.
No, I think both Bronwyn and Morgan, obviously, off the bat. That was a great piece of hitting by Tani, but we know the speed of Gemma Letton. We've spoken about it. We saw it this morning, or this afternoon, rather, with that bunting. Gemma has made a massive ground. I'd love to see that replay again. As an outfielder, that makes my heart smile, the amount of the ground that she's made in left field, and running across and catching that and then coming back. Having the presence of mind to actually go to second base to pick off the runner of Morgan Doty and not try and throw to home. Bronwyn had run back and had tagged up. If Gemma Letton had actually decided to go to home, she wouldn't have got Bronwyn Gell, but she's decided to go to second base and get Morgan Doty, and just like that, bases loaded, 1 out, snuffed out by great play in left field by Gemma Letton.
Well, Gemma Letton, a late addition to the team. She had a breakout year, both in baseball and softball. She hit over 500 in both of those codes this season. And I was chatting with
Is that good?
Oh, that's okay.
That's okay.
I was talking to the general manager of the Giants, Nathan Davison, in between the games, and he just said, is Gemma one of our best players? She might be one of the best players on this team, and that is a big compliment to Gemma Letton. She had a couple hits in the last game. She's shown some craftiness by bunting and getting aboard. She has shown her skills in the field. She wasn't in the starting lineup for the first game of this showcase, and I don't think you can take her out at this point.
You cannot. That bunt that she did this morning was absolutely fantastic, and she's young, but to have that presence to be throwing down a bunt like that in that situation, that game, and a must-win game for Adelaide, just shows how quickly she is and how much potential that she has.
That also takes out a bases loaded 1-out situation, and now Adelaide's going to have a base runner as the rain is starting to pour down. That's Gemma Letton's roommate, Bianca Ramsey. We shouldn't refer to her, somebody as Gemma Letton's roommate, although it does feel like it's Gemma Letton's world right now and we're just living in it.
It's that old, this is Gemma Letton and this is Gemma Letton's roommate. No, we see Jess Johnson unfortunately can't quite bring that ball down, and Bianca Ramsey takes one of the ribs there. So it'd be interesting to see how much more the umpire, Janine Thompson at home plate, will allow this to continue to play. It is tough conditions, and we want to have great baseball. We want baseball. We also want safe baseball. So we'll just make sure that if it gets any heavier, I'd be surprised if we continue here.
Angelique Iredale steps in and lays down a bunt down the line. That one just goes foul.
Tried to go quite fine there, as we talked about in that first game. You're looking, as someone who used to bunt a lot early in my career, you're looking at how much does the grass play an impact of pushing that ball out. And we can see that it just maybe had a bit of backspin on it. And as a fielder coming in, you want to make sure you get that, pick it up in foul territory and send it back to the batter's box.
It's a play that requires a lot of confidence that Iredale just tried to pull off. Gonna try it again. Bunts it right back to the pitcher. Gonna do the job. I think both managers can sense that we're in a bit of a pitcher's duel and defensive duel right now. So Adelaide just trying to advance the base runner and put one in scoring position. Small ball.
Well, they're the home team now, so you always want to tie it at home and win it on the road. So they're looking just to put a one-run spot here in the third frame, and you have a sense now that one run might win this ball game. So she's come around. She's come up for that. It's obviously a sacrifice bunt, and Angelique Iredale can obviously hit because she's come off at under-16 softball nationals and was awarded the best hitter of that tournament. So she can swing it.
Gemma Letton, who just made that great defensive play. Ball slipping away. There's going to be a play at third. Sliding in safe is Bianca Ramsey. So the sacrifice play is there. Aggressive on the base paths are Adelaide. And an Adelaide player and Bianca Ramsey decided to make the jump. She is an athlete.
And that's a great read from there. As a base runner, particularly when on second base and third base, you're really looking as a base runner at the trajectory of the ball out of the pitcher's hand. You want to see, if you see that ball down, you are automatically expecting it to come off the catcher, and then you're reacting as to how far it goes away from that catcher. And she's seen the ball down, and then she's seen the ball come off the catcher, and that's a great piece of base running from Bianca, who she's been playing for 12 months. Let's just remember that.
Jess Johnson, you saw a moment ago, just rubbing the baseball on her pant sleeve, and she's doing it again right now. This also becomes tricky for the catchers. They have to be dialed in because it might not be the pitcher's fault, but a ball could just slip out of those hands. And right now, a slip out of the hands could cost Victoria a run.
Yeah, this is great. Jess Johnson does have a bit of I play club ball with her. I know she has a bit of a tick. She plays with the ball there, but she's doing her best to keep it dry. And Anna Kimbrell now with that runner on third, knowing that Bianca has speed.
Wow, and the range has picked up even more. Gemma Letton watches one by. Letton from Renmark, South Australia, and it's such a small community up in the Riverland. And would you believe they have one of South Australia's 3 major league players that hail from Renmark?
Well, she's a place from Riverland right now. It's going to be a river out there if they keep playing.
It's a walk.
I'm probably not sure. I'm really not sure they should be out here. They need to be calling this. This is really, I've never seen a game played in these conditions.
And that's what they're going to do.
Thankfully for the safety of everybody, this is as good as I've seen a game of baseball played in this rain. And I know we want to play baseball, we want to be on television, but at the same time, we've got to make sure that everybody is safe at the end of the day.
Well, 2 excellent games so far contested between the Adelaide Giants and the Victoria Aces. That was a really entertaining game 1 we had of the showcase, a 4-1 win for the Victoria Aces. And right now, with runners on the corners and 1 out, and Adelaide with a bit of momentum, the rain helping to take that away. But this game has been topsy and turvy. I mean, we've seen a few strikeouts. We had a bases loaded 1 out situation. But this is also tricky for the pitchers, both of them pitching so well. If this delay is a lengthy one, well, that might be an early end to what's been a great pitching performance for both of them. So let's hope the rain passes and eases up a little bit and we can say, yep, let's get back out there and play.
Yeah, exactly right. It's interesting. You could say right now the momentum is in Adelaide's favour.
But 5 minutes ago, it was all in Victoria's favour.
Exactly right, and that's why we love baseball. It changes in a heartbeat. But we know right now, I know Victoria's got a number of heated jackets over there. They know what it's like to play baseball in Geelong in May. So Jess will be in there. I know she's probably got a massage gun going. She's going to be huddled in a corner. The girls will be looking after her. And the same with the Adelaide Giants as well. And they'll be talking about, the senior players will be bringing the group together and talking about what they've noticed with the field and the wet and things like that and the wind. So plenty of discussions in the dugout.
Well, this is a very good baseball game, and Mizuki Bando has been a big part of that. She's got 4 strikeouts right now on the card. She's got out of the bases loaded jam. Both teams' defenses stepped up and made some plays. Both catchers have had to be excellent. You can see the ball slipping around. Both pitchers using that word painting that you hear.
Yes, definitely. We saw that from Caitlin Einan in the earlier game, painting that outside corner, and everyone's been using all parts of the zone. Some good fielding from both teams in these conditions. It's not easy when you've got the wind, the rain, you're looking up, you've got rain in your eyes, you've got the glistening lights on all the raindrops, and the fact that we're a 0-0 ball game in the 3rd inning in these conditions is a really great testament to South Australian and Victorian baseball. And it's an interesting discussion around the rivalry now that we're seeing develop between, just in the last couple of days, between Adelaide and, I guess South Australia and Victoria, Adelaide and Melbourne. Obviously for the first 20 years, there was a massive rivalry between Victoria and New South Wales and then WA. So now seeing the addition of extra states and programs building across the country, we now get to form more rivalries in women's baseball, and maybe this is the start of South Australia-Victoria women's baseball rivalry.
I hope so, because it's been very entertaining. Look, Amy, the word on the street or the word on the field is about a half-hour delay is what we're going to wait for this. So we're going to step aside, and we'll be back in about, well, hopefully sooner rather than later for it, but play will resume in approximately 30 minutes. That is what we're being told. We'll step aside and we'll be back to call the rest of this ball game for you because it has been fantastic.
Yeah, not long. fix this and we're going to... Yeah.
I like that. There's a few good baseball players that come from the Overland for some reason. It's about 3 hours north of the coast.
Shirtless series winners, hoodies and caps. We're giving them all the hoodies away. Right out there, right out there. So make sure you head over there, have a look, buy some stuff. Keep 15. So quarter. 15. You got it?
in Louisa Gauci. And Bando already throwing.
Up and down and outside as well.
Wow.
Yes, my knees are hurting just watching. Forward for the Aces tonight.
Abby Kelly up the middle, base hit. Abby Kelly, another player that can do a little bit of everything around. Last night. It's a bit of a wild one last night. 3-0 count, catches the outside edge.
Victorian line up very well. Yesterday's 2 games and Maddie Patrick getting that start.
Jammed just a little bit, but the ball has a little bit of carry. Doty has to track it.
Premier division in Melbourne. First premiership in 20 years, Donovan Hendricks. So
there goes Forkin. She's going to test the arm. It's going to be a good throw. Over to second. Forkin slides in safe. It was a close play.
Closer to the fence. She just put one out, and I think.
Runner going to try to go at third. Is the tag made? She's safe. The throw was to Sato at third, and I think Chelsea Forkin
throw, but we need to really compare like for like.
Pitch on the outside edge, she's gone. So a runner get. Bronwyn Gel watches a ball from. Second time through.
They're learning Japanese. Down again.
Abby McClellan, runner in scoring position. Wastes no time going after a pitch. Puts one to the outfield. Runner is being sent around and being told to retreat. Lovering to left field. Letton makes the play. Runner has to go back and tag. There's a relay coming in. They've tagged up the player on the double play. Gemma Letton, the Riverland Road runner, makes a nice play and left and catches a Victorian base runner napping to get the second. Steps in and lays down a bunt down the line. That one just goes foul.
So she can swing it.
Gemma Letton, who just made that great defensive play. Ball slipping away. There's going to be a play at third. Sliding in safe is Bianca Ramsey.
Yeah, I'm bringing him back a coffee when I get a chance. Yeah, I noticed you were a bit busy out there. I was in the line and had to take off. No, it's all good.
Back at the ballpark here in Geelong, Eric Ballner and 6-time World Cup winner Amy McCann calling all the action for you. We're out of a lengthy rain delay. Players back out there, and great to see both pitchers, we're told, are going to go back in the game. Jess Johnson in the game for Victoria. And let's just get everybody up to speed what's going on in this game. It's 0s on the scoreboard, but there's plenty that's been happening. Jess Johnson retired 7 of the first 8 that she's faced today. And then right now Adelaide threatening with runners on the corners. But in the 3rd inning, Victoria had bases loaded and 1 out. And then a nice defensive play from Gemma Letton. Made a catch, a great catch, ranging over to rob a base hit. Threw the runner out at second after. And that's put Adelaide in a scoring position in a game they have to have. And we're right back in the throngs of this thing with Grace Spano up to bat. Amy, I'm sure that when you've been a player in a dugout, how do you go through these delays? Because you'd be no stranger to delays happening in baseball games.
I've actually had a 2.5-hour delay, and I was actually in an at-bat. I had a 2.5-hour at-bat.
Oh, that's
So
pretty
I had a
good.
couple of
Is that a
pitches.
record? Might be a world record.
It should be.
Big moment in the ball game. You just come right back on the broadcast, right back in the action, and it had the feelings of 1-2 run ball game when we left it in this 5-inning game, but you don't really know what can happen. This thing could bust open because now pitchers are just totally off their rhythm. Johnson delivers. Spano trying to lay down a bunt. It goes off herself. I think it was called a foul ball.
Yeah, look, Jess Johnson would have kept warm in that dugout. They would have huddled around her. But Jess is a workhorse. As I said, she's represented Australia in gridiron football at the World Championships, and she's a real hard worker, spends a lot of time in the gym, and she really prepares herself really well. So she would know exactly what she needs to do. She's young at heart at baseball, but she's a veteran. She's been around for a long time, and also having the experience of Anna Kimbrell behind the dish as well will help us settle down in this critical moment.
0-2 count. Let's see if Jess can get Western Australia's Grace Spano rung up. Spano's had an excellent tournament so far with the bat. That one up high.
Long hold there from Jess. She'll probably vary the holds. We talk about some of the techniques the pitchers can use in the holds, short holds, long holds, medium holds, just to really see if she can hold that runner at first base, knowing that she'd rather keep that double play situation, force out situation with 1 out.
Adelaide got a double play. Victoria trying to do the same thing. It's kind of been a monkey see, monkey do game. Adelaide get a strong pitching performance. Victoria respond. Adelaide gets some good defense. Victoria respond. And now Adelaide got out of a bases loaded jam. Victoria trying to do the same thing, but that one hits Grace Spano. So just like Victoria had in their half of the 3rd inning, it's going to be bases loaded and 1 out. And now Japanese pitcher, but maybe turned slugger, Ayami Sato steps up to bat.
Yeah, and look, Sato would know exactly like that at-bat that Tani Lovering had in that previous inning. Sato knows with 1 out, bases loaded, what she's looking for, what Jess has now done with the previous batters. She knows what's potentially coming, but she knows she's looking to drive that ball into the outfield, keep it away from the corners, stay away from that double play. And as we said before, you have a feeling that 1 run may take the ball game today, so she's looking for that 1 run.
Sato kind of guides that one outside. The catcher, Anna Kimbrell, asking the question. It's a very good defense. We'll run through the defensive lineups when we get a moment for you, but let's just enjoy perhaps the pivotal moment of the game so far. Bases loaded, 1 out. Sato up to bat. Jess Johnson on the mound.
Great outside pitch there from Jess Johnson.
Very youthful Adelaide Giants lineup being buoyed by the experience of 3 Japanese team players versus a Victorian side that has more World Cups than it's possible to count. Sato, left field, to the wall, back, track, gone! Grand slam, Ayami Sato. 4 on the board for the Giants.
Wow. We have talked and talked and talked about her achievements, the accolades that she has on the mound. And she comes up to bat. I just said 1 run's going to win this ball game. She just needs to put that ball into the outfield. Well, you know what? She put it into the outfield of the diamond behind us. And It's why we love. It's why we hate this game. In one pitch, absolute game changer. 4-0 Adelaide Giants.
You know, Amy, before the game was down in the Giants dugout and I saw Ayami Sato. I had dinner with Ayami Sato on Wednesday night, so we're best buds now, obviously.
Just a name dropper, aren't you?
I did. The best female pitcher in the world in Grand Slam, home run hitter. And I said, "You're in the lineup." And she said, "Yes, lineup." Her English isn't amazing, so she said, "Yes, lineup." And I said, "Home run?" And she said, "I promise." And then I said, "Pinky promise?" And we did a little pinky promise. And then I was just in the dugout again. She looked at me and she said, "Maybe home run." She calls her shots.
Maybe that was my problem. I should have called my shots. I didn't
Yeah.
hit any balls like that.
She's a confident player, though, Ayami Sato. But she lives true to the pinky promise. Amy, you can't. If there's anything that's, sanctity in this world, it's the pinky promise.
This is true.
But it's a 4-run shot, a grand slam, and baseball's just a game that's decided on those little moments, isn't it, as Maslin takes a pitch. Victoria had the same opportunity with bases loaded and 1 out, and it was a great defensive play from the Giants that thwarted that opportunity, and you can't defend if you're in the field a home run, and that has the Giants up. Jess Johnson deals. That one catches the plate, and Jess Maslin is retired. So a great bounce back at bat for Jess Johnson on the mound.
Yeah, that's great. Look, obviously, you give up 4 runs in one swing of the bat. You really want to come back going hard there, and she gets that really good call on the outside corner of the plate there to retire Jess Maslin. And we've got 2 out now, so we're looking for Jess will be looking for a quick at bat here. Bring the Victorian batters out. Hopefully, respond. We know that Victorian lineup is strong, and they can bring up 4 runs. They overcame a 7-run deficit last night against the Brisbane Bandits, so Adelaide would not be comfortable. They wouldn't be thinking this game is in the bag by any means.
Not at all. There's still a couple innings to go in this one. Yukina Izumi up in the air. This one going back right towards the crowd. We had a broken table earlier in the day, so people kind of flinching back there as Jess Johnson goes to work on the mound. Jess Johnson now part of a little baseball, well, not just Jess Johnson, but the whole family sounds like part of a bit of baseball history.
Little baseball royalty, the Johnson/Rogers family. Yeah, just in the rain delay, spent a bit of time with Jess's now husband, Jared Rogers. Jess and Jared actually had their wedding postponed 3 times due to COVID. Finally got married just before the end of our season, before she pitched the Doncaster Baseball Club to a grand final. And Jared played in the grand final for the Essendon Baseball Club. He's also played for the Melbourne Aces. So by my reckoning, in the current standings, the Victorian Aces and the Melbourne Aces are the first husband and wife, first couple of the ABL in history in Australia, which is exciting.
I hope they're not the last. Good play across the diamond, but just bobbled at the last second. Hustling out is Yukina Izumi, but Bronwyn Gel just in the dirt a little bit, and McClellan almost made a nice play in the hop.
Yeah, we've seen, obviously, it seems like it's a bit difficult to pick the ball over at first base. We saw a few missed, not just at first, but second. There's, I think, a few tricky hops. Maybe the mud might have been just be a little bit sticky. Didn't come up the way that Abby may have expected it. But 2 down, we have a forced situation at second base with Carly Moore, who's, in my opinion, been the hitter of not taking anything away from Sato's Grand Slam. Carly's been probably the in-form hitter for the Adelaide Giants. She's got that home run and then
putting the ball in play.
Absolute web gems from Bronwyn Gel and Morgan Doty to steal hits from her.
Player whose confidence never really changes, Carly Moore. Her whole family has driven out to watch her play this weekend. They're back there in the grandstands watching. It's a good little Adelaide contingent actually here on the Friday night, and they'll be here tomorrow too.
It's amazing how many people have travelled. Actually just spotted Karina Sexton, as she was when she first started playing for Australia and played a World Cup for Australia in 2016. Yeah, Karina Connors come down from Queensland or northern New South Wales to catch this.
That ball just a bit wayward, so it's going to be a free runner in scoring position for the Adelaide Giants. Yukina Izumi stands on second, and Carly Moore can add another run if she can find a base hit in the right spot.
Yeah, aggressive play there from Anna Kimbrell. I love that back pick. It's one of my favourite plays. The catch a back pick to first base, but just let it sail there. As we said, it's going to be really interesting to see how the rest of the game plays out with these conditions, with the soapy ball.
Well, also look at the wind and the flagpoles down the left field line. It looks like the wind's blowing out a little bit.
Yeah, right now you'd be looking to, you don't want to be pulling. It shows again how strong that home run was from Sato going to left field. We've seen most of the home runs have gone to right. I think the wind has been going that way.
Healthy lead at second. Moore reaches down, scoops one up. Morgan Doty moving under. Look at her swirl around. That ball must have been moving up there a little bit, but Doty, sure-handed as ever, makes the play. But the Japanese international Ayami Sato with the exclamation point for the Giants out of that break, and they have a 4-0 lead. And Amy, it's a game that the Giants really do have to win.
Must have been moving
Well,
up
Amy,
there.
don't forget, look, there's the look at the wind. We're seeing a lot of great sport this weekend, and there's a lot of great sport going on, it feels like always, in Victoria. But that's not all they have to offer you Victorians, Amy McCann. The Arts Precinct, that is something that is a wonder. You could almost call it a wonder of the world going down in that thriving heart of the Australian art scene in Melbourne, whether it be walking down the riverbank, catching a symphony with the Australian Symphony Orchestra, one of the great gigs that come through, some great Indigenous artwork you can catch at some of the galleries. There's a lot going on in a thriving art scene in Melbourne, and something that I know when this weekend comes to an end, I'm looking forward to checking out.
Yeah, look, as you said, the city of Melbourne, if you don't want to sit in a laneway having a coffee, you can walk down to catch a great concert at Hamer Hall, or go out to the Hyde Museum of Modern History and Art out in Heidelberg. You can just around the corner, if you don't like your art, you can watch the sport. So it's Melbourne, there is every single corner you turn, there's something for everybody.
Well, the Victorians are going to have to get to work with the bats, but it's not a position that they're unfamiliar with. Last night they were down 7-0. They erased that. They were up 10-7, but then the Bandits pushed back again. It was 10-10, and again, the Victorians issued a response. Every time they've needed an answer, Victoria seemed to find it so far on this short weekend, and they'll need to do it again.
They have, and I think the pitching probably slightly different tonight. We've seen Zumi throwing a lot more strikes, so I think that it's going to be in the hands of the Victorian ace batters tonight to see how they challenge her really top pitching at this point in time. And I have a feeling that the aces are going to need to respond in this inning. We may run out of time. It may not be the length of game here, obviously, with the 2-hour games, 5-inning games. We've had the rain delay, so I really feel they need to jump on this inning here.
Well, unfortunately for the Aces, it's the bottom of the lineup, and they have to go through just a couple slouches down there, and the Olympian and multiple-time World Cup representative Chelsea Forkin, and then Anna Kimbrell, who's played in 6 World Cups for the United States. So tough part of the lineup at the bottom part of this Victorian lineup.
Yeah, look, Chelsea Forkin, as I said, she turned 15 while we were away in 2004, played a World Cup, youngest ever Emerald at 15 and 7 days.
Hard hit ball up the middle, and Forkin getting the party started. She was aboard earlier, and she stole a couple of bases, and she'll, I'm sure, be looking to do the same thing again, but that's a good piece of hitting.
It's a good piece of hitting, a great at-bat. She would know you can't score 4 runs with one swing of the bat unless the bases are loaded, and she's done what she needed to do as a lead-off hitter. She's looked for your pitch, hasn't tried to do too much, and she's just done that single up the middle. And now with Anna Kimbrell, it's all about keeping the lineup ticking over. We know we've got Anna Kimbrell now, and then Maddie Patrick coming up. We'll see how the lineup shapes up.
A win for Victoria puts it beyond doubt. They clinch a spot in the grand final on Saturday, or on Sunday rather. They're in a good spot. Even if they lose this game with the couple wins on the board, but there's nothing anyone can do about it if they win this game today.
Yeah, look, I think everybody who knows me knows I bleed the dark blue, but I'll have to say if Adelaide gets a win on the board here, I'm excited. I'm excited for women's baseball, I'm excited for the showcase. It sets Adelaide up. As you said, Victoria's already got the two wins. It's a really good thing for the game, and Adelaide right now deserve to win, but plenty of baseball left.
Plenty of baseball left, and a team that can put up a lot of runs on the board. Bando rearing back with a pitch. She's got a few strikeouts in this game already, 4 on the day, and has had the defense help her out a little bit, and she might need a bit of assistance again with Anna Kimbrell up to bat and Chelsea Forkin, who is twitching over at first base right now. That one fouled back. Amy, as a base runner, what kind of things right now is Chelsea Forkin looking at with the pitcher with that ball in her hand for that jump?
Okay, so obviously Chelsea Forkin over there, she knows the score line. She wants to get, and not too for an aggressive lead, because the last thing you want to see is someone getting picked off with a score of when you're down by 4 runs. So every pitcher will have either a tell on whether they're going back to first or when they're going to home plate. So in the dugout, she's had 10, 15 at-bats where she's been able to look and work out what that might be. And now if the signals has been put on by Donovan Hendricks, if there is a hit and run and hit, steal, she's looking for that. If there's nothing on, she's also looking for the trajectory of the ball. Let's see if I can get that word out. The trajectory of the ball, looking for the ball down. So she's ready for the ball in the dirt and then looking for the ball to get away from the catcher. So there's a lot of things to be looking at over there. You're always making sure you know where the ball is. It's the only thing that can get you out. But yeah, look, it doesn't matter for this point in time because the walk has pushed her over.
Well, it's a good point you made earlier in that, Amy McCann, as we have a pinch hitter.
Yeah, this is Taylor Welch coming in for Maddie Patrick. So we see 4-time World Cup representative for Australia who led the Australian team in RBIs, home runs, OPS, slugging, on base percentage.
Situations in this game are changing all the time, and you look at the first time that Chelsea Forkin was on base, it was a 0-0 game, and head coach Samantha Hamilton and her Victorian side trying to take that game on, and we're sending Forkin around the base path to try to generate that run. It was a 0-0 game. Forkin is an important run right now for the Victorians, but it's not the game-deciding run at the moment. So, like you said with her piece of hitting, she just needs to move around the base paths and hopefully touch home to give that team a chance later on.
Exactly, and a situation now with none out runners on first and second, Taylor's looking to make sure she keeps the ball.
Well, she's going to try to pounce here. It was a funny hop, a throw down the line.
And that's an almost identical play to what we saw Chelsea Forkin taking third base earlier in the game. That great slide out the outside of the base. The ball in the dirt to Sato then, but fantastic. And we see that great running there by Anna Kimbrell. Just as I was saying, that double play, triple play situation, we've now got 2 runners in scoring position. We know the power that Taylor Welch brings. We know the right side. If you watch the highlights of the World Cup from 2018, we know the power that she has. She can put one out here in one swing of the bat. We can change the game yet again.
And death by the long ball has been the MO for this big bopping team for the Aces. They've scored a few different ways. That's not totally fair, but they certainly are a deep ball threat. Taylor Welch, you can see that powerful swing she's got.
And if I was the pitcher right now, if I've taken a sneaky look over into the on-deck circle, you can see that Shay Lillywhite is now going to come into bat for Louisa Gauci at the top of the lineup, and Shay has been in fantastic form. So we've pinch hit for a four Cup World veteran. We've got 8-time World Cup veteran at bat. It's a great protecting strike swing from Taylor Welch there. So yeah, if I was a zoomie, as we said, we don't know, so from Bando, we don't know so much about these Japanese pitchers, and it's so exciting to learn. We know about Sato, so exciting to learn these new players, but I'm pretty sure she would know who Taylor Welch and Shay Lillywhite are.
Well, in big game situations, Samantha Hamilton going with big game players.
Exactly, and look, Sam's obviously played 5 World Cups. She's played with most of the players in this team at a World Cup, and Sam's one of the biggest big game players you'll ever see at an international level. So she's an old hat at this stuff.
So she knows.
She'd have a low heart rate now, I know that.
Swing and a miss, that one drops. It's a drop third strike. She's got to be careful of that run not advancing to third. They are, so 1 out on the board, but still 2 runs and 1 out. 5th strikeout for Bando, and that swing and a miss has been a good proposition for the Giants' perspective today.
Yeah, good. It's risky pitching. I mean, she's probably deliberately gone into the dirt with that strike there, getting chased at Taylor to chase. But great work by Japanese national catcher to make sure she blocks that ball to stop Chelsea from scoring the Aces' first run.
I think there's a lot of trust between this battery combination.
There is. They are a well-oiled machine.
Shea Lillywhite up to bat. It's a move for Hamilton. Gauchi was 0 for 2. She had 2 long at-bats. They were very competitive at-bats, but both strikeouts. So Bando just has her number a little bit, so a bit of a different look right now with Shea Lillywhite. Still that compact strike zone on Lillywhite, though.
It is, yes, but look, if anyone is, we talk about players suited to situations, Shea Lillywhite has spent a huge chunk of her career playing Japanese baseball, living over there. She was the first and only Australian to play in the now unfortunately defunct Japanese Professional Baseball League. But like myself, having lived over and played in Japan, they are the best. When you live, sleep and breathe it, it can only make you better.
Yeah, it was an interesting chat with the 3 Maddies on the Giants earlier today that you and I had. Just noting the difference even in warm-up and preparation that the head coach, Risa Nakashima, has been bringing this Giants team through.
A Japanese warm-up, pre-game warm-up in a baseball game, there's nothing like it. The energy is amazing.
Strike on the outside edge. A whistle being used by Risa out in the right field line. Very much on sprint and fitness and timing and getting that flow of the game, rhythm.
And chanting. There's running drills with chanting. It's absolutely, it's a sight to behold. It's a really great thing to experience.
Swing and a miss. So with runners on second and third, Bando has reared back and found 2 straight strikeouts. It's 6 on the game.
Yeah, that's Shea doing her best there to get something on that, protecting the strike zone. That's a tough call on that second strike on Shea. Has to protect that strike zone. But yeah, look, we saw the missed opportunities in the previous inning from the Aces. We hope they don't have another missed opportunity here, but we've got Bronwyn Gell up to bat with runners still on.
Just outside, Bronwyn Gell's had a few big game moments already in this tournament. Let's leave out her whole international career. Otherwise, we're running out of time on the broadcast. Legend of the game. She had that, as you called it, Amy, that professional at-bat her last time up. Took a lot of pitches, fouled a few away, eventually got on base as a leadoff hitter. They brought them into a bases-loaded situation, but it was Bronwyn Gell that set the table.
It's interesting, you could see the catcher standing up there. That's a deliberate high pitch there, seeing if they can get Bronwyn to chase, and it's worked. Taking the count 1 and 2 in their favour. So we know Bronwyn, she competes in every single at-bat, so we'll see how much she competes in this one.
Fouled away, and that was a tough pitch to stay on.
And that's exactly what Bronwyn wants to do. She wants to fight off the pitcher's best and just wait for that pitch that she knows she can drive. And she's one of the hardest outs in women's baseball. It's why she's played for Australia. She's got multiple awards. She's the National Championship MVP. Could have swept all the awards if she'd pitched as well. So this is a tough out.
A lot of enthusiasm you can tell from Bronwyn Gell around the ballpark too.
Yeah, look, she loves it. She's been around. I think she came around the ballpark at our nationals when she was 10 years old. She was like our first groupie. She got us to sign pictures of ourselves, and she had them on her wall. And now she's one of my heroes. It's amazing.
Again, a professional at bat, no matter what the outcome is here, and there's a range of things that can happen. Bronwyn Gell certainly making Bando work.
Yeah, and that's what you have to do. Every single at-bat, whether you're going to hit a grand slam or you're going to strike out, every at-bat, you can have a good strikeout, you can have a bad strikeout, you can have a productive strikeout, or you can have good walks, bad walks. It's all about the situation. It's all about how you compete, and she is a competitor.
In the dirt, and we've seen other batters offer at that pitch, but Bronwyn Gell not being fooled.
Yep, she has what do they say in League of Their Own when Marla Hooch is batting? She has an eye like DiMaggio.
I like that accent there, Amy. Do that the rest of the game.
Do you want me to recite the whole League of Their Own movie? I could do it. We had the rain delay. How did I not
That's
do
what
that?
we should have been. Yeah, we should have done that. We could have mimed it out.
My missed opportunity.
Stays on it, grounds it in. This is going to be a tough play. Sato picks it up across the diamond. What a play! Ayami Sato saves a run by picking up that slow roller and dishing it across the diamond and keeping it a scoreless game.
Yeah, have a look at the replay here. A fantastic at-bat here from Bronwyn Gel, and she just gets in front of it, but absolutely bolts out of the batter's box, charging from Sato. And a really great stretch there from Jess Maslin, actually really secures that out. And unfortunately for the Victorian Aces, another inning and more base runners left on base. And as we talked about, the shorter games, the rain delay, we're running out of time. And I think if we look back at the end of the game, if the Giants hold on here, it's going to be those runners left on base that hurt the Aces.
Yeah, they had bases loaded with one out in the third inning and couldn't score any runs. And then runners on second and third with no out in that one, and then strikeout. And Giants make a couple nice defensive plays, but the Aces couldn't quite find that little gap in the outfield. And going back to that last play, I don't know if we have a replay on it. Amy, I love this because it was a great pitch from Bando. It was a great job from Gel to stay on it. It was a difficult play from the third basewoman, and it was a great play from the first basewoman, Maslin. There's 4 elements of this, and it also saves a run. This is the kind of baseball we love to see. This is high caliber across the board.
And then the element that you add is the conditions. So I spent a lot of time talking in the crowd. Obviously, there's a really great crowd here. Everyone was just blown away by the quality of tonight's game. And I'm like, tonight's game, the quality is fantastic, but the conditions, it has an opportunity in any sport to the conditions to affect it. But yeah, sitting up here, I can admire every element of that play. I know that Bronwyn will be disappointed she didn't execute, but she competed, and that is what it's about.
And that was like the 7th, 8th pitch of that at-bat.
Yeah, look, Bronwyn is someone who definitely takes pitches deep, and that's what you want to do, particularly for the Japanese. You've got to try and take them deep because we know that they can pitch. We know that she could pitch on Sunday. So we just have to make sure we try and just have a real battle out there. And it's great to see Jess Johnson still on the hill for Victoria. So hopefully Victoria can have a quick inning here and get back to bat.
Canberra's Bree Hosey steps up to bat. She's made a couple nice plays in the field in the early stages of the game. And if you're just joining us, Adelaide mixed the lineups up. They're 0-2. They went with 2 teenagers in the middle of the diamond. Bree Hosey starting at second base, and Angelique Iredale starting at short. A lot of trust being put in the middle of that diamond to 2 kids with just a lot of talent.
I know. I think about all the pressure situations that I had at a World Cup level in my 20s and my 30s, and that was hard enough. And I think about these players. They're playing in the international stage at 16. I was just hanging out in my bedroom playing video games, or I wasn't playing video games, but I was probably studying because I'm a nerd. But they're out here competing against the world's best. I'm like, tip my cat.
It's a good point, Amy, and obviously you played in 6 World Cups. You got to travel around the world playing for Australia. But if in between those World Cups and those times, if you had a showcase event where the best players in Australia came together and then you added in some international talent, how do you think that would have helped Amy McCann as a 22, 23-year-old player back in your day?
Oh, I smile just thinking about it. That's a great hack there from Bree Hosey. I was blessed. We had a really fantastic program led, I think, in particular in the late 2000s, led by Johnny Gaynor. And we had fantastic nationals. So a nationals every April was really strong and competitive, and we had camps every year. And if I think about the fact that we could have had a showcase added to that, I think the Australian women's program would be a lot further along than we are now. And I've always said we've punched above our weight for years in the international stage, and I think I'd love to have had it then, but I'm just glad we have it now.
Hard hit ball to right field. It's in that awkward gap spot. What a play! Did she make that catch?
Taylor Welch has taken that ball. Morgan Doty has covered a country mile, but Taylor Welch, that had the makings of a collision. But if we have a look at the replay here, Taylor must have made a loud call. We know that the range of Morgan Doty in centre field. Taylor's obviously made a loud call. Morgan's
I like the look back.
Morgan's gotten out of the way of that train, and that is an absolute big league catch from Taylor Welch right there.
That was a gap shot.
Yeah, look, Brianna Hosey's actually made a really good piece on that. Just like that shot from Tani Lovering robbed by Carly Letton in left field. Victoria Aces have returned favour.
Taylor Welch saying, "You're good, kid, but just remember."
Oh, I think one of our cameramen has just taken a fly ball on his camera stage. That's all right. The camera's still working. He's laughing. It's all good.
Oh man.
We've had a table get smashed earlier in the game.
I don't feel safe.
How sturdy is this marquee?
We've had rain and wind swirling here. Bianca Ramsey battling away here. She got on base, hit by a pitch in that third inning, and later scored that, well, as it stands, the go-ahead run. Puts the ball into play. She's going to hustle this out down the line. Scooped up over at third, and what a play by Abby Kelly.
Oh, Abby Kelly at third base, she's just, she's a wall. She knows, the thing I love about Abby Kelly at third base is she doesn't do too much on any play. She does exactly what she needs to do and always look. We can see the cameraman, he's giving us a wave, he's all okay. A bit windy up there, he's the real hero of today, standing out there in the cold. But yeah, the two quick outs there for Jess Johnson and the Victoria Aces, they'll be happy here.
Angelique Idale. These two kids, Angelique Idale and Bree Hosey, they've been rooming together and they've got a bit of pep about them.
If I was a kid and I was playing amongst this, I'd have a pep too.
Giants just taking a couple days, I think, to form that personality of the group. There's a few players that English is the second language, or not really a language at all, to be honest. There's players coming from interstate, and a lot of young players. There's not that established World Cup 34-year-old leader that you might have on other teams, but as the day's gone on today, you've seen this Giants team kind of grow together, especially being around the dugout, as we would have seen in that rain delay. There's a bit of a different vibe than it was even 24 hours ago.
Yeah, and I think that one of these the things as women's baseball grows, but particularly in this semi-professional, professional sort of era, is that new dynamic of kind of the FIFO players. We're going to fly out. We're going to be wearing different jerseys. The men are used to that. And as we see another
big strikeout. So Jess Johnson, just the one grand slam given up, but she's certainly given her team a chance to win this game. But, well, we're going to head to the fifth, and this is the final inning. So this is going to be the last chance to dance for the Victoria Aces batting squad. But really appreciate you joining us. And this broadcast, of course, brought to you by the Victorian government. You can go to visitmelbourne.com to find out how you can plan your trip from anywhere in the world. And you got to check out the laneways. Flinders Lane, in particular, is a spectacular place to go. Great bagels down this lane, great brunch spots, great specialty stores, some markets, some coffees, some long brunches. It's all the stuff I kind of like. Tomorrow's Saturday morning. That place is going to be bumping.
Tell you what, we hit up on the freeway tonight. Did a little overnight at Southgate. Breakfast in the morning. We'll be back down here in the freeway for the 4 p.m. game.
Yeah, but how long's our brunch going to be in the laneway?
Yeah.
I'd like it to be cruisy.
This is true.
But we have a lot of baseball to dissect, so maybe a long brunch at a laneway is exactly what we need.
This is exactly right. So we might have to find the laneway in Geelong and then do that on Monday.
Perfect. I like that. Visit melbourne.com. But Amy, to your point that you were making before about the FIFO players, you're right. Men in the international baseball scheme, they play in the minor leagues, and that's in Japan and in America, where they have different tiers and systems where players are flying in and out. You have to introduce yourself to your new teammates, it feels like, almost every day. It's something that's coming along in women's baseball, but this is just the early formations of it.
Exactly right. I think we talk about the Victorians here they're a well-bonded unit because there's a big crux of the 13 have been playing together for a long time, but we're going to see those dynamics change where we don't see every single state or ABL franchise represented just yet. So we're going to see.
It's coming.
Queensland's obviously the Brisbane Bandits are a mixture of 4 different nations and states. So the women are going to have to get used to coming in, playing next to new players, and that's tough when you're facing new pitchers, when you're behind the dish or playing with new outfielders. But it's a great, not problem to have, as Abby Kelly takes that first pitch strike. It's something they're just going to have to start to get to embrace as the game develops and becomes more professional.
Middle of the lineup here for the Aces, 3, 4, 5. Lots of World Cups. How many World Cups between Abby Kelly, Morgan Doty, and Abby McClellan?
That would be 2 for Abby Kelly, 2 for Morgan Doty, and 1 for Abby McClellan.
And I'm sure there'll be some more on their horizon if they can keep cracking that squad. Either way, it's a huge part of the ball game, chasing 4 runs. And Mizuki Bando, she's got herself into a little bit of trouble, but always seems to get herself out in this game. It's like a rope-to-dope action for her 6 strikeouts during the game, and she's got the toughest outs to go, the last 3.
You see the catcher sitting out really outside. We've seen a number of outside calls to set some batters down this game so far.
Being consistent at least.
Yeah, and it's been consistently outside, so maybe the catcher's looking to see if she can take advantage of that.
Big loop and pitch at strikeout number 7. That's a tough one to hit.
I would love to see the spin rate. I'd love to see the movement on that. We've spoken a lot about Saito has, I think, an 8 to 10 inch movement at the last World Cup. Some of her pitches dropping top to bottom, and we have a look at the replay on this, where it starts to where it finishes. That, as I said, pitching ninja. If anyone knows Rob Friedman on Twitter and how he analyses pitches, he had a look and was really impressed and retweeted some of the Baseball Victoria highlights of Genevieve Beacom overnight, and I think he'd be similarly impressed with that arc there.
Yeah, they call it a 12 to 6 curveball. I think that one might have broken the clock.
I think it actually broke 2 clocks from 12 to 6 through 2.
It's in a different time zone. Morgan Doty. Boy, she moves well out there, doesn't she? And she hits a ball hard. Right field. That rattles up against the wall. Doty looking for 2. There'll be a throw in, but Doty will get there easily. And Victoria, who need that offensive spark, get it from somebody that's been on base now 3 times today and on base what feels like all week long.
Yeah, that's a great piece of hitting there from Abby Kelly. We've talked about that right side. You want to see the ball as long as you can. The longer you track it, the more you recognise you can see it, and really hit that outside pitch hard. And that's what Morgan Doty's done. And it looks like the right fielder there had a bit of a struggle just getting it out, maybe from underneath that mesh in right field. But Morgan Doty, that was always a double off the bat.
Yeah, she's a good hitter. Abby McClellan up to bat. She's been hit by a pitch and she's got a single. So
yeah,
this part of the lineup has been very effective, these 4 or 5 batters. Bandits sitting at 1-1 on the ladder. Aces 2-0, and this is the final time the Giants will play the Aces. And Giants sitting at 0-2, desperately need a win. And a Sato slam has them in front 4-0. Big defense and good pitching from Mizuki Bando has helped, but the Aces not done yet. And if you think they're going to go quietly, well, you're just wrong. Don't even have anything to say to my own question.
No, look, and they would know. One swing of the bat, it only halves the lead. So I think they'll be going hard here at Abby McClellan, hoping that she doesn't put one out, but that's a great hack. Great hack from Abby. I think that she knows she might have missed that one, but she gets another opportunity in here. But as we said, the change now, they can be a little bit more aggressive in the strike zone, knowing that only the lead can be halved right now. But if it does get halved, this makes it really interesting, knowing we're hitting Lovering and back to Falk and back to Kimbrell. It just never stops, this Aces lineup. The fact that they've been held scoreless just really shows how well she's pitched.
Well, they've had chances. Runners on second and third, no out last inning, and bases loaded 2 innings ago. And Adelaide's kept the bats at bay for now. In a lengthy at-bat now for Abby McClellan on a 2-2 count. There's a run on the board. Victoria just have to pick away one by one.
You see Abby McClellan in the front of the batter's box, really up the front, probably trying to negate that drop.
Hard hit ball, and it finds a gap in the infield, and runners are going to be on the corners. So the Aces not done yet.
That's a great piece of hitting. If we see the replay from the side, looking at how far forward Abby McClellan is in the batter's box, sometimes we can do that to try and negate the arc of an off-speed pitch. See if you can get it before it does break down. And that's a really great piece of hitting. She's actually, you can see her getting her hands inside the ball there, and she's done enough. We know how strong she is. That's it. She's grounded that through the middle. No chance of them coming up with that. And yeah, runners on the corner. Something brewing here with 1 out for the Aces.
An adjustment made on a deceptive pitcher in Masuki Bando, who has weaved the ball with a wand through the air. And that one you just have to lay off.
Yes, and Tani knows. She knows what to lay off, but I think when we're coming up here, it's like the don't think of a white elephant. You're going up there knowing early in a count, while the count, you were looking for your absolute hot shot. Early, and that's the only one you're going for in this situation. And then obviously as the count changes, so does your approach, so does your hot spot to use a certain term. So yeah, Tani knows she's got to keep this lineup chugging over to get to Falk and to get to Kimbrell, to get to Welch, because she does not have to do this all on her own bat. As I just said, Falk and to Kimbrell to Welch.
Well, she can't, right?
Everyone just needs to play station to station baseball here.
Offering at a swing. I don't think she went. Giants were trying to sell it, as you would. What are you looking for here to see if she went around?
Oh, look, they talk about obviously breaking the wrist, but you're looking at it. It was
not even close.
No, not even close. You're looking. Was it a full-blown attempt? Was she attempting to swing, or were you looking to hit until you're not? But that was definitely not a swing.
Well, that has been typically that out pitch that the Giants have been looking for, right on that outside.
Yeah, I think the catcher maybe setting up outside too much. Obviously, the umpires are going to know the plate doesn't move, but they have capitalised on some outside pitches tonight, so they're still looking to that. But I'd be surprised if they don't probably go inside here.
Good job from Tawny Lovering just to stay on that and earn herself another pitch in that at-bat.
Yeah, and as you get better, and you're always learning, I'm still learning in this game, the art of fouling pitches off to foul off, try and get rid of their best so you can try and get your best. It's a real art, and it's something in the first part of my career. It's something you learn. It's always that weird, I'm actually purposely trying to foul something off. It's like I'm supposed to be getting a hit, but yeah, it's all part of that. There's hardly a pitcher to the batter battle in sport like this. It is so unique.
Allows her to lay off it and bring the count full. Tawny Lovering, just like the Aces have done all game long, are making the Giants work right now.
We talk about game at-bats, pitches of a game. This is the pitch of the game right here.
Full count, 1 out, 2 on the base pass. Aces needing a rally. Swing. And it's a strikeout. Number 8 on the day from Mizuki Bando. She's been fantastic getting outs when she needs, and that is the biggest one to date.
Yeah, I think Tani came in, bit of a check. She wanted to swing, check swing. Wasn't quite there, looked a little bit inside, but no, I think that's definitely a strike, and just caught in 2 minds. It was, sometimes you actually don't, your brain swings without even knowing it. So I
think it was a pitch that put her in 2 minds.
Yeah, it certainly, there's been a few of those tonight. So yeah, a great pitch there, and Aces now 2 out, runners on first and third. So we see if Chelsea Falcon can start to get her bat hot, see if we can make a change here.
She hasn't been out this game yet. She's got a walk and a hit to right field. Spano moving over, makes the play, and the Giants have a win on the board. 8 strikeouts from Misuki Bando. Some great defense from the Giants and a Sato slam. And the Giants are in the win column with a 4-0 win.
Yeah, that's an absolutely amazing performance there. Battery for the Adelaide Giants and really the Japanese the Japanese cohort there. We spoke with the Giants early before the game, and they told us about how the Japanese players have been teaching them how to speak Japanese. And you know what? Tonight they taught them how to play baseball as well, and that's what this is all about. The young Adelaide Giants lineup are learning the language of baseball Japanese style, and that was an absolute clinic from them tonight.
Well, I don't know what the Japanese word for win is, but I'm sure that's what they'll be teaching their young squad today. And that Ayami Sato slam that just had enough to get over the fence, that accounted for all of the runs. A game of minute differences, and Sato helped take advantage, and this makes the competition very interesting going to the final day of the minor rounds tomorrow.
We do. I mean, Adelaide now getting a win on the board, and we see Brisbane got a win, and Aces still have 2 wins on the board, remember, but now Aces play the Bandits tomorrow, and the Bandits have the double header, will play the Adelaide Giants again. So we'll see what will happen tomorrow. This is not just a showcase. As we've talked about, we talked about this yesterday. Last year's showcase was 2 days, there was no championship on the line. Now we've got three days, 3 teams, championship on Mother's Day. Now everyone's...
And the intent of the teams were very much revealed when you look at the adjustments that Samantha Hamilton made in the middle of the game. Sensing that Victoria needed a rally, she went to Old Reliable with some national team players in pinch hit situations, trying to get that rally going. These teams are here to win, and that's why Rissa would have gone with her trusted Japanese battery combination on the mound for this game too. They're not here just to strut players out. They're here for that cup.
Yeah, it's really obvious here that the players want to compete, they want to win, and we always talk about you play what's on the front. We know there's a little tiny element of people want to play for what's on the back. They want to play for their name, they want to make a name, they want to cement their name, but you can really see that people are playing for their team. And I think, as we said before, the whole FIFO player, we've got girls from New South Wales playing for Adelaide, New South Wales playing for Brisbane, and internationals playing for Victoria and all the teams, and they're playing for the team. They're Aces, the Giants, the Bandits, and everyone just wants to win.
Giants have a win on the board. It sets up a great day tomorrow. We hope you enjoyed all the action from both the games today. Brisbane took out game 1 11-5, but ever since kind of that last inning of the Bandits game, the Giants have started to turn the page a little bit, scoring some runs late in that one, getting some runs on the board in this one, and it sets them up in good stead for tomorrow.
Yeah, I think I said it in that last inning. I said they were down by 8 runs. If they'd scored those 8 runs, fantastic, beat the Bandits, but what they wanted to look was to try and finish that game in a positive manner to bring that momentum into the doubleheader, because that's what a doubleheader is all about, just making sure you can ride that wave, and they've done that, and we've got the showcase. We've now got a competition on our hands. If the Giants had gone down tonight, obviously that would have put them out of contention and the Aces in, and I love it because now we're going into day 3 and everything's on the line.
Well, Amy, I appreciate you sharing all the stories of all these amazing athletes for us today and yesterday. I can't wait to see what the next 2 days have in store. This broadcast brought to you by the Victorian Government and visitmelbourne.com. We'll see you tomorrow, 4 p.m. on the Eastern Time Zone. I'm Eric Ballner on behalf of Amy McCann and everybody on the production team. We'll see you then.